Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking at some more levels that I made for the game. That's what our main focus is, and also I created this cool new starting menu for the game. The two levels that I made, one of them is just kind of an extension of the first level you saw. The third level is going to be more of a climb the tower kind of level, and it's mostly just to show off this cool new set piece that you have here, so let's take a look at that. This is a software that I use called Sprite, and it's mostly used for editing pixel art. I didn't create this artwork that you see here for this tile set. This is pre-made. It's something I got from a Humble Bundle a while back, but I have to put it in this software to be able to copy and paste it into another program that I use called Tile Setter, which is going to be what I use to create an auto tile set. That's going to save me a lot of work in the long run when I'm trying to put these all into my game. So normally placing tiles in a game can be a real pain in the neck, especially if you don't have an auto tile set. You have to actually find every single piece and where it connects. So what Tile Setter does is it takes all of this and it basically forms corner pieces, bottom pieces, whatever pieces you might need to make an auto tile set, and that will make it so that I can place everything very, very fast. I don't have to individually pick every single thing. You can actually do this without Tile Setter, but Tile Setter is just a third-party software that does it automatically for you, so you don't have to think of where every single piece needs to go, which is where I have most of my problems when I'm putting in tile sets. So when I'm creating a room, this is the second room that I made, what I do first is I set up the width and the height of the room, and I think of what kind of room I want it to be. So in this one, I want a room where you can travel up and down and left and right, and there's little pockets in the caves where you can find sorts of goodies and things like that. And really I just wanted to show off kind of what we've got so far. You can see the auto tile set working really well here, so I don't have to manually place all these edge pieces. Once I've got my general layout of what I want the room to look like, I go in and I add a bunch of wall objects. That's that blue square that you're seeing being put in. I have to manually put that in anywhere where I want the player to have a collision, meaning anywhere I want to be a solid object that the player can't just pass through. I have to physically go in and put this wall object here. There are games where you just collide with the tile, but with my push and pull system and how I've set up all my collisions, I just had to go with what I know best. That's going to be this object collision system. So for this third level, I reversed the width and the height of the last level. So as tall as the last level was, this level is wide, and same with the height and width reversed. The reason for that is I wanted this level to be a tall one where you could vertically scale this tower by climbing up windows and ledges and things like that. It sounds fancier than it is. I'm really just plugging in all the different tiles that I need to put in. It is a pretty big tower. It's a pretty tall room. The windows and the ledges are part of a sprite that I made where I can just alter the index number of the sprites, and that will be able to be the sprite that I want it to have for climbing up this tower. After adding in a transition to go from one stage to the next, I just played around with the level a little bit to try and see what the problems would be, what the game felt like, if it had any additional bugs that I wouldn't be able to see in my original one. And I did find quite a few things that were important for me to know. The first thing was the way the character is built compared to the tiles is not really ideal. The tiles in this tile set are 16 by 16 pixels. The character is 32 by 32, so you run into problems where the character is actually too big to get in certain spots. Normally I would have a character be 32 by 32 and the tile set would be bigger so that you would only need 2 empty spaces for a character to walk through. This character actually needs 3 because of the way the collisions are set up. The other problem is the wall grab. When he goes to wall grab on something, if it's something small, he will wall grab onto a 1-block tile, and the whole game is really going to need to be set up now for 2-block tall tiles throughout the whole game. So I want to talk a little bit about how a level works when I'm designing it. This is another level that I just made. You can take a look at it and you can see all of the things are in here. I put some decorations. All of these are separate assets that I've added into the game. The way these levels are designed is it's all done through layers. So Game Maker 2 actually handles everything in 3D. I don't know a ton about how this all works, but this is all plane after plane after plane, like a certain distance. Everything's just a certain distance behind everything else. So you have like the very front where you're gonna have our camera, and then you'll see a bunch of different mist layers that I have here. If I click play here, you can actually see the animations going past, and I control how fast I want these to move. I control their transparency, so I can make these super thick, which doesn't look very good, or I could bring the transparency way down and then it looks more like mist. I could also change the color, and this is actually how I'm getting a lot of the color that you're seeing, is I have things overlaid on top of the levels that modify what the color looks like. So this is a gradient that I made in Photoshop. It's just goes from one color to the other. It doesn't look fancy at all, but it is quite large. And the whole reason that I have this is in my game, there's this whole gradient in the back where it's starting off kind of light and then going kind of dark. And you can see when I turn it off, there's actually a very red color to this. And this is what's giving the game so much of its color right now. If I could change it to pretty much whatever I want. And the colors, obviously that does not look all that great. It looks kind of like a poison fog when I do it like that. The color that I have on there was like a red color, and that sort of makes it look more like a dusk type thing. But yeah, so I add that in, and that's what gives it a lot of the color that you see in the game. And this here is the last level that I made. It's just a castle level where you start at the bottom and then you climb your way up to the top. You can see I put in a lot of nice little decorations, and there's also a lot of platforms for the player to jump on top of, and a bunch of little enemies where you can attack. We'll get into the enemies in a different episode because I'm actually doing this a little bit out of order. You'll see in the next devlog that I've added some enemies in there. I added in some mist here at the top to create this really cool looking screensaver. I just want to put it up here because I think it's really pretty to look at. I played around with the main title. You can see the moon and the clouds that I added in the background, and then the credit screen is here. You can see that I don't own anything here. That's the links to the tile sets that I used, and the moon image is not mine either. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. If you're interested in playing this game, you can sign up at the Discord in the description below, and you can get the password for the super secret itch page where I keep everything. If you want to see future updates, be sure to subscribe. I'll try to put these out about once per week. Thanks so much for watching.